There is a party that my 17-year-old has been excited about going to for weeks. One of her good friends is throwing it. She is very responsible. I trust she won't drink and will be home by curfew. The parents will be home as well. The issue that comes in is we are going to get bad weather. Ice and snow during the night. She does not have a lot of experience driving in snowy/icy weather since she got her license in the summer. Her father and I don't feel comfortable having one of her first solo driving experiences in icy/snowy weather at night. Her friend's parents don't want anyone staying the night. My husband is an EMT and will be on duty. It is stated multiple times when the weather is snowy and icy it is safer for everyone if people who don't need to be out driving stay off the roads. We told her it would be safer if she stayed home and she would have other parties. She is mad and not speaking to me right now. She yelled that I broke my promise and how I say a person's word is everything and to not promise something if you don't mean it, and that is very Hey Dad. The friend lives about 30 minutes away. The road crews and first responders are advising people to stay off the roads. If it is what it is predicted to be, it will be bad. Edit 2. Parents cancel the party. They are going to reschedule it for later. Nah, I'm honestly shocked by all the YT is a 30-minute drive in icy and snowy conditions is hard for anyone. Clearly the daughter isn't the but I seriously don't blame the mother for this situation. Also those saying Uber, would you really trust your kid's life in the hands of another person in adverse conditions? The only caveat here is that I would at least tell your daughter that you can play it by ear based on the weather conditions when it nears the party. If it is okay enough, then I would suggest you drive her. Not the idiot, she has a right to be upset. But if EMTs are saying to stay off the road, that is precisely what you should do. Last time I drove during a weather/road advisory, I was flung into a ditch, just barely avoiding a pole. They closed the road after because it wasn't the only accident to have occurred there in such a short time period. I'm livid at the ITA comments who expected you to risk both of your lives to drive her to, and from a party. People die in these conditions every year, so I can't grasp why you would ignore a warning from EMTs not to go on the roads unless absolutely necessary. Not every setback in life that comes your way was directly aimed at you, and it's time your daughter learns that. She won't be the only one who didn't go because of the weather. My girlfriend and I are expecting. We don't live together, but we're waiting till the baby's born to figure out our living arrangements. She's 4 months pregnant. There are certain smells that she just cannot tolerate, and my roommate tends to cook some meals with a smell that causes her to be nauseous. That would result in her throwing up and getting sick. I tried to speak to him about it, but he got pretty defensive saying he has a specific diet that he sticks to, and that he didn't see how this was wrong. I cleared things up saying there was nothing wrong with what he was doing but asked him to just not cook those specific meals that have a smell that triggers my girlfriend's nausea. He got upset and ranted about how he's a resident unlike my girlfriend, who doesn't live here, and said that he can't even consider my request since she's here almost 4 days a week and stays till 10 p.m. I tried to discuss it with him and maybe figure out a compromise, but he bluntly told me he doesn't owe me or my girlfriend any accommodations nor compromises. I thought that was unnecessarily rude and selfish of him. He told me to deal with it or tell her not to come, which was offensive because she's my partner and she's pregnant, and I need to make sure she's okay by seeing her weekly. He's avoiding you right now. ITA. I figured it wouldn't be such a huge deal since it wasn't like I'm telling him to stop cooking at all, just when my girlfriend is over. Info. I can't go to her place because she's currently living with her parents, and I can't go over there because I'm not on good terms with them. Call me crazy, but I would say that just had a baby is the absolute worst imaginable time to move house. ITA, what are you doing? We're waiting till the baby is born to figure out living arrangements. No, you have a baby coming, you need to figure out where Tiff y'all gonna live before it gets here. You can't ban your roommate from cooking his normal meals. Your GF doesn't have to visit you for most of the week. You can go to her place, or you can hang in your room if your roommate is cooking something she can't handle. But you don't get to make your roommate's life revolve around your baby. He didn't agree to live with a pregnant woman. YTA, why on earth are you waiting to figure out living arrangements? This is a really dumb move. She is pregnant with your child, you're not going to have time to figure out a living arrangement. Once the baby is born, plus the child should be brought home to a stable environment with both of you there. Right there before anything else, this is just classically dumb. Also, not your roommate's problem, it's yours. Again, this is why not sorting your own place out is just plain dumb. Don't project your problems onto your roommate. I know this whole situation sounds stupid, but bear with me. I've 20s and hosting Christmas this year with my husband when 20s. My parents split up when I was around 5 years old. My dad is pretty much out of the picture. When I was 16, my mom, 50s, met my stepdad, Tom, from 60s. They met online and got married after only knowing each other for 3 months. Teenage angst was probably a plague, but I never really liked Tom, and at the time I thought my mom was ridiculous for marrying someone who she only knew for such a short period of time. Anyway, a few days ago, my mom invited me over. I helped her put away some shopping when I got there. There were some small bottles of Pepsi that I forgot to put in the fridge, so they were just sitting on the counter. A couple hours later, Tom gets home from work, and he sees the Pepsi bottles on the counter, and he starts flipping out. He goes on about how he can't drink room temperature Pepsi, and that they should be in the fridge. I told him it was me, and that I just forgot to put them in the fridge and apologized. Apparently that wasn't good enough, and Tom went off about how stupid it was to not put them in the fridge, and that I have no common sense. I sarcastically told him that this is a disaster, and how he will recover from this. Tom called me a useless bitch. I decided to just leave, and later I texted my mom and Tom, and told them that unless he genuinely apologizes for calling me a bitch and being so rude to me over Pepsi bottles, Tom's not invited to Christmas anymore. My mom sends me paragraph after paragraph making excuses for Tom, and saying that I'm being unfair. She said I'm making her choose between me and Tom, and that I'm unfairly putting her in a difficult position, and accused me of punishing her for a situation she didn't cause. I told her I don't care, and that no apology means no invite for Tom, and that I don't want him attending if he can't apologize for his actions. She said I'm being petty and acting like a child with birthday party invites, and said I'm being a Scrooge. She keeps sending me pictures of Scrooge and the Grinch and saying that's you. I really don't know if I'm actually being petty or going too far. Not the idiot, this man is in his 60s. He needs to grow up and learn to accept an apology. Your mom is also being ridiculous here. She should just tell him to apologize for being so rude, and come alone if he's going to be that stubborn. Not the idiot, but Tom and your mom are. If my boyfriend called my daughter a useless bitch, especially over something ridiculous, such as the placement of Pepsi bottles, he'd be out the door. I wouldn't be taking his side. Mom is super pathetic for sticking up for her abusive husband, and being so juvenile/abusive herself. I blocked them both and enjoyed Christmas in peace. My dad is married to Anne. Anne hates my mom. My siblings and I do not regard Anne as our parent, because we were 11, 12, and 14 when we met her, and when our dad married her. Now there's some history to be explored before we get into this specific incident. Dad used the time my siblings and I were with Mom to build his relationship with Anne and eventually her son. They were practically engaged before we met her, and we met her son at their engagement party. They moved in the very next day, and they were married 2 months later. We had equal time with Mom and Dad, but because of our ages and them being so new to us, we did not get super close to Anne or her son at that time. Anne's son ended up diagnosed with a form of cancer that was more likely due to a longer-term medical condition he was born with. Anne was away a lot with her son to get him treatment, and she was with him out of state in one of the big children's hospitals where they specialize in cancers. Mine and my siblings' life carried on as normal for the most part. When we were with Mom, life was totally normal. Anne's son died while we were on vacation with our mom. We were 17, 15, and 14 at the time. Anne was furious that Mom took us. She had wanted us to stay because her son had wanted more time with us, but Mom had already booked the vacation and we still wanted to go. We were not close to Anne's son, and we didn't have a familial bond with him. Anne never got over it and was especially bitter because we were not closer to her after, and because most of us chose Mom's house over Dad's for staying at when we finished high school and wanted to come home. She was resentful that we weren't rallying around her and letting her still feel like a parent. Now I'm getting married. Anne despises my mom more than ever, and when she heard I was doing a mother-son dance at my wedding, she told me she wanted to do one too and deserved to do one if I was doing something with that woman. I told her that woman is my mom and I wanted to dance with her. I told her we, Dad's wife and I, would not be dancing together. She asked how I could say that to her when she lost her only biological child and we didn't give her the chance to continue being a parent. I told her it was not my job. She said it was like she was a stranger, like we weren't family. I told her if she wanted us to be closer, she should have made sure Dad introduced us all before they were ready to get engaged, but we never built up the relationship before they were married, and we were all a little older when they did and not there all the time. She told me I was breaking her heart saying no to her, and how could I be so thoughtless after what she's lost? Not the idiot. It's very sad that her son died. It is not your job to replace him or to make her feel like a parent. The way she speaks of your mom is incredibly disrespectful, and certainly won't make you feel closer to her. You do not owe her a mother-son dance, and she is being incredibly entitled to demand it. She is also delusional if she thinks you have a close enough relationship to warrant it. Not the idiot. You don't have the kind of relationship with her that would warrant you wanting to have a mother/son dance at your wedding, and she knows it, so she shouldn't expect you to do it. Moreover, she's bringing up her dead son to try and emotionally manipulate you into caving to her demand for a dance. That's pretty bad on its own, but it's so much worse when you add in the jealousy she has of your mother. The "that woman" comment would have left me seething.